Brian, are we experiencing life the right way, man?
How do you know?
How do you know?
How can you tell?
How can you tell? What's the point of reference? How do you know?
Oh man. So like I appreciate the struggle a little bit.
You appreciate the struggle a little bit.
I appreciate the struggle. I was sharing this with my son the other day, that nothing worth having come easy. If it was easy, everybody would have it, right? And you see this throughout all of life. Those who had it the hardest somehow end up being some of the strongest,
Ooh.
Yeah, so, if I look at where I'm at and what I'm doing.
They had grit.
Yeah, if I look at where I'm at and what I'm doing, I would think it's safe to say that, yeah, I'm experiencing life as I should, but I'm also curious for what's more. I'm definitely not going to get the mindset of I don't have enough, I need to have more, I should be doing more. I just move forward in faith.
And the verbiage, we can shift there a little bit because, the word should, it sounds very direct, which
Exactly.
being direct is good.
Like what is should in comparison, what is good for me in comparison to you? That's a very loaded word.
It's based on our perceptions.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that
circumstances.
I'm saying that to say because if it's not working, if you hear like you should do this and you're moving in the opposite direction because there's this rebellious part of us, right?
What about giving people options? Hey, you could do this, right? Have you ever thought about doing that? Because when you say should, I'm telling you what's right for you, like I know what's right for you.
That's a good shift. That's a way to
could is an option.
That's a positive influence trait that you have. I was reading Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and a lot of his, principles that he wants us to take away is how you phrase those verbiages. It's a principle.
From should to could.
And I like that, should to could. I would even say internally, instead of saying should, you say I get to.
Okay, so that's I get to. I love I get to. I use I get to versus I have to, right? So I thought you were speaking in reference to giving advice.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We can talk on that.
Asking somebody, hey, you should do this versus hey, you could do this.
Because ultimately we want to live and experience life the right way.
Okay.
Because of that advice, right?
Yeah. As opposed to me saying, man, I should do this. The moment I say I should do something tells me that I already haven't done what I was supposed to do. Right? Because it's self-convicting. It's saying, man, I should do that. Dang, why haven't I? Why haven't I? Right? Like, why haven't I done that?
It's perception because I know there's some people that don't like that word should.
Yeah.
I know people close to me that don't like the word should.
But you should do that. But could, for the self, for me, it's like, you know what? I have options. I could do this or I could do that.
I think when people know they have options, yeah.
When you have options, you start choosing, you start picking.
Which is connected to what Alex Hormozy would say, someone that I follow closely with business and psychology. He said the difference between, anxiety and sadness is when you're anxious, you have too many options. And when you're sad, you have no options.
No options at all.
It's interesting.
So anxiety is too many?
It's almost like you're in a brain state of anxiousness. Like, oh my gosh, and you're like, it's kind of fear. There's like a dosage of fear in there as well. All these different things. But a lot of the times when you see anxious people, it's because they have too many options. They don't know which one to choose.
I hear the word a lot, high achiever. What are they referring to when they say high achiever? Is it that we have a bunch of options and we can do a lot? Or is it that we're maximizing the time that we have to get what we need done?
Wow. So you're talking about the label of being a high achiever?
Being a high achiever.
Achieving what, though?
I know. Because I think it can be misleading when people say such and such is a high achiever.
And that's why people think experiencing life the right way, they think being a higher achiever.
They think being a higher achiever, right? I think being a higher achiever is slowing down, choosing the right things to do.
We've talked about
this.
And
executing. And not just executing, but completing. Because you can start a lot of stuff and finish nothing.
Yeah, well, what are the mile markers? What are the indicators that you've achieved it? You could have put a false mile marker on there and said you've achieved it, but you really haven't achieved anything.
You have a long way to go.
I think that's the difference between achievement and fulfillment.
Okay.
Because a lot of us think, we've achieved it, but they still feel unfulfilled.
Exactly. There's a void and emptiness. Because there's more to do.
Could it be that the ladder of going to achieve greatness, if you will, is leaning on the wrong wall?
Yeah. So the question was, do I feel like I'm living the right way, right?
Are we experiencing life the right way?
Are we experiencing life the right way?
Yeah.
And I like that we kind of led into fulfillment because you have the two paradigms. Is the glass half empty or is the glass half full?
Mm.
When we think about being half full, I think about that there's more filling that need to be done.
Mm.
You know, achieving purpose, striving to become more.
What is purpose for you? Like, what's your interpretation and definition of purpose? Because I feel like that word has been thrown around a fair bit.
So what I've accepted for myself is to serve others.
Okay.
Is to be a servant leader.
What
servant
happens if
person.
you serve others to where you're people pleasing, rather than serving from your state of purpose?
So earlier we talked about, you know, in order to achieve more, one of the key areas that you need to do, aside from journaling, reading, and writing, is to self-reflect.
Yeah.
So the other day I was self-reflecting, and I was thinking, at what moments in life did I achieve the most or accomplish a goal that I set out? And I went all the way back to when I was a kid. I wanted to own a home because we never owned a home. So I said, you know what? The world is cruel to my mom and me because we don't have a home. So when I grow up, I'm going to get a home. Things are going to be stable.
It's a narrative.
Life's going to be good, right?
Yeah.
So as early as childhood, I set out to serve in others. The home was for her. I wanted to buy her a home.
Not you.
Not me. Yeah. I figured if she had a home, the world would treat her different. You know, life would be better for her.
The act of kindness.
And in return, it would be better for me. So I got the house at 23.
That's a very early age to get a house, man.
But what I experienced at 23 was that it wasn't necessarily the world, that it was her, right?
Oof.
So we had to separate ties, right?
Oh,
But what happened when I was 23 is I had a son that I was called to serve and take care of. So now I had to take care of him, right?
Wow.
And that's kind of how things transitioned in my life. When you're committed to someone else, you know, Scripture says that treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're giving more to others, the outcome of that is what you're going to receive. So for me, my strength has been projecting my wants on the others to be better or to do better.
Yeah.
And
Which
I've
is
benefited from
a
it.
good thing. But it's interesting how you came up to a point upon reflection, which reflection is connected to reference, right? Point of reference. Where am I at? Self-actualization.
Yeah.
Realizing that, wait, the world is cruel, but is my mum interpreting the cruelness of the world internally, becoming a victim instead of being victorious in this moment?
Yeah. And that's a choice that we all have.
We all have that.
We all have that
It's a
choice.
switch.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, it reminded me of all the experiences that I've had leading up to this point in time. And experiences, I got confused with experiences with experiment.
Wow.
And the issue with experimentation is I will go through life's hard knocks within my own experience, but the best way to learn is from other people's experiences.
Yeah. Shorten the learning curve.
Shorten the learning curve.
Stay off the struggle bus.
And people tend to keep doing what they're doing. They tell me they don't have enough time to read. They're telling me they don't have enough time to grow. And they're still stuck in the same mindset. I can't help you if you can't help you. Could it be our ego that's getting in the way? There's a big difference between our spiritual essence, which is, we've talked about this, spiritual essence, the spirit, your creative essence is your spirit. We are a spirit that possesses a soul that lives in a body. Could it be that our ego, which is our soul, that has been shaped and formed by the sociological influences and infrastructures, indoctrination, ego that's created by this entity that's trying to stop your essence from taking you to the next level?
Yeah, you know, I like to say that it's to possess the transformation that you're trying to have in your life. And I'm just going to make a blanket statement and say that you're somewhere you don't want to be. You know, you want to have a better life experience, whatever that is.
Yeah.
More health,
Yeah.
more money, better friends, better neighborhood. To go from a lower plane to a higher plane, from less to more.
Yeah.
It's simple, but not easy. Right? It's very, very simple, but it's not easy to do because over time we've been conditioned to be who we are,
Yeah.
doing what we do, thinking the way we think. And if you're not where you want to be, that mode of thinking hasn't gotten you where you want to be. It's gotten you to where you are, but not where you want to be. So
yeah, that's
you have
good.
to switch that mode of thinking. It's very simple to switch it, but it's hard to do, right?
It's simple but hard, yeah.
It's simple but hard. What are the hard parts? Turning off the things that you're watching, turning off the things you're listening to, switching your environments, maybe even switching your careers, right? Maybe even switching your friends, maybe even moving away from some family members who have some bad ideas and ideologies, right? Like that's the hard stuff. The simple thing is you can actually do it. Like it's possible, right? That's what makes it simple. The idea behind a change, a repentance, a 180 is just simply do it. The hardest part is the detachment. It's like a ripping away, right, of old habits, old thoughts, old patterns, old lifestyles, right? That's been
That's so
ingrained in
good.
us.
That's so good.
It's simple because it's doable. It's hard because it's like, man, like what's gonna happen? Because it's scary. We fear what we can't understand, what we don't understand. What we don't understand is what's gonna happen once I make this change. Am I going to be worse than what I currently am? Or am I really going to get that thing that I want to achieve? Am I really going to achieve a level of success that I'm aspiring to? Or will it be worse than what it already is? I hate that a lot of us, we rather hit rock bottom until we're forced to change.
To learn from our experience.
It. Yeah.
We have
to hit rock
experimentation piece, yeah.
There's two things, I believe there's only two things that's going to cause you to change. One is going to be fear. The doctor's diagnosis, you got cancer. So it's like, oh, now I got to change my diet.
Wow.
You got heart disease. Okay, now I got to start working out.
Shoot. That's
You're going to go to jail if you keep doing this. Okay, I got to stop drinking and driving. You know what I mean?
Pushing
Yeah,
boundaries, yeah.
you know, so it's fear. It's fear of going to jail, fear of getting sick, fear of going broke, that you start doing different things and change your behavior. Or it's curiosity. It's like, man, what if? What do I have to lose? Right? Like, what is possible? That's the curious mindset. What's on the other side? You know, when I went into business, one of my homeboys was like, bro, like, what you gonna do for business? Like, how are you gonna conjure up customers? What if it don't work? Like, he was saying these things. We were in the gym working out, and I was like, I don't know. The worst thing that can happen is I go back to work.
You have a specialty to go back
Like,
to.
that's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah. I can go back to sales.
I can go back to work. I can go back to
I can go back
sales.
to
Yeah.
carpentry. I can go back to the military because I have my experience.
What's the worst that could happen?
Worst that can
That
happen.
was the worst that could happen. And it's been 9 years now since we've been in business.
I could actually be a drill sergeant.
You can. You
I actually
definitely got the
love that
acumen.
stuff. I actually love going to the range. I love going into the. Now, I don't want to be out there all day. Like, I don't want to be out there because sometimes we can go outfield for months. No shower.
What?
Stankin'.
No.
Bro.
You're going months without
We have
showering.
wet wipes. We wipe out and everything.
With it?
Yeah, we wipe our armpits, all that other area.
It sounds like jailhouse stuff.
Well, hardening.
Wow.
The longest I've been outfield was 2 weeks.
Okay.
Bro, my clothes
With
stunk.
wet wipes?
With wet wipes. Or sometimes I'll occasionally hey, we're on security. Like I'll have someone on security, and then I'll have like a water jerry. It's like a big container water thing, and I'll open it a little bit, and it'll come out with water, and I'll have a little shower there underneath it, under the big truck. I'll have it over top of a big truck, open the little jerry thing, and then I'll have a shower underneath.
And it's military stuff, right?
It's military. I love it. I love that stuff, but only for a short duration. I don't want to be out there too long. But I'm saying that to say, dude, thank you for sharing, because I think you're alluding to something. I follow certain people that are very influential, right? They'll call themselves influencers, right?
Yeah.
Granted, they are, because they get the following, right?
Yeah.
Now, following is a little different from having followers than having people like leaders follow you, right? You're a leader of leaders, or are you a leader of followers? Which I know that
Ooh.
sounds kind of
I never
like,
even.
duh, leaders are followers. But think about it for a moment. Some people just follow because it's just a trend. Some people follow you because you have something that you have a message that moves the masses, that really does bring a value to the world. But that's not where I'm stopping there with this point. The point is I heard an influencer say that successful people become successful because of what they say no to. We think it's what they say yes to. It's actually what they say no to. That's more powerful.
I like it. You know, so I actually can relate that to nutrition.
Go ahead.
Man,
I knew it's going this way.
no, seriously. Here's the truth about that. Like,
You're a guru of nutrition, not diet. You remind
not
me of
yet.
that.
I'm not a guru yet, man.
You are a guru,
I'm
man.
I'm still in the process
You're
of learning.
percentages further than many.
I'm learning.
You're the fantastic
and
few.
it all came out of the curiosity that I just talked about earlier.
Just
right?
like this.
Most of us think that we need to take something to become healthy.
Ooh.
No, we do.
Wow.
You know, we're in the health food store looking for the latest environment, the best grain, the best fruit, the most nutrient dense vegetable that we could have, right? But we're still eating McDonald's, and we're still drinking Coca-Cola and eating pizza, and we're still eating boxed food, and we're still eating candy bars, right? It's not that we take something for nutrition and health. It's subtracting the bad stuff that is causing disease and dysfunction in the body.
You said take stuff, which you're saying like candy bars and all that. Isn't that like treats?
It's poison. You know what I mean? It's poison.
Because you're saying take, like we take medication, but that medication is treatment, not the cure.
Yeah. It's treatment. We're treating symptoms. It's not a cure. Like,
Which is the same thing as treats.
we're treating symptoms.
Candy bars.
Like you said, successful people, they abstract from something, right? They avoid something that's not good for them. It's what makes them successful. Healthy people choose not to poison themselves. Wow. We choose not to eat things that make us sick and unhealthy.
That's both spiritually, mentally, physically,
Yeah.
financially.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the absence. It's the absence of something that's not good for you that makes you successful. Not the consumption of something that you think is good and healthy that's going to make you better. It's not making yourself sick to begin with. Right? It's not putting for a successful person, if we're talking about finance and business and life, it's not putting yourself in a bad situation.
Okay.
Right? It's not doing something that you shouldn't be doing, going somewhere you shouldn't be going, getting in a deal that you shouldn't be getting in, right? It's avoiding that to begin with. And with nutrition, it's avoiding what you shouldn't be eating or consuming that keeps you healthy. Now, granted, you do need to supplement with real foods, nutrient-dense ingredients and fruits and vegetables and so forth. But for the most part, if you abstain from what you shouldn't be doing in the beginning, you stay healthy. You stay successful.
This impacts your experience in life. I just Googled here real quick. Nationally, 41.9% of adults have obesity.
41.9?
41.9% of adults have obesity in 2023. Recorded after 2023, Black, Latino adults have the highest obesity rates, 49.9% and 45.6% respectively. People living in rural communities have higher rates of obesity than people living in urban and suburban.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that 41% is
That's nationally though, by the way.
Yeah, probably 3/4 of that 40-something% is diabetic, and those who are, the remaining 25% is probably pre-diabetic.
Which I think this all connects, man, to your experience of life. I've spoken to family members. I try to not to speak. I try to embody the philosophy, not teach this philosophy. Because I'm noticing if the more I try to teach, the more repulsed they are.
Yeah. People don't want your advice until they ask for it.
Ooh, better. Oh, man. I don't know how you can drop this mic, but it's dropped.
Like, seriously.
Say that one more time.
People don't want your advice until they ask for it.
I'm about to spit this water out.
Because for guys like me and you, Joe, coming from where we come from, overcoming what we've overcome, we like, hey, like, there's a secret to this. Like, you don't have to stay there. You can do better, be better. And we want to go out there and share it with the world, right? And tell people to make these sacrifices and tell them that it's going to be hard. But be patient and stick through it and be consistent. And they're like, but who said I had a problem with what I was doing, right?
Those words that you said that you probably don't realize you're saying, but you do have.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you and I, have this struggle. We want people to do something, to have something, but they have to become something before they can do.
Yeah.
It's harder to become.
The more you become, the more you will have. Right?
Ooh,
Because we are creators. You know, we were created to create.
man.
And if we're not creating, we won't have. Simple as that.
Something that I journal and I revise every week is I remind myself I'm a master value builder.
Yeah.
I'm a master value builder. If it's not valuable, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I think about Jim Quick's advice here: the 10 habits that damage your brain. I think that has a lot to do with the experiences, right?
I need to hear these.
Yeah, I'm going to read them out real quick, and I'll put it on the screen. 10 habits that damage your brain: not drinking enough water, multitasking. People celebrate multitasking.
We talked about the high achievers, right?
Specialty.
Like we assume that the high achievers are doing a
Same.
myriad of things, tons of things, and just getting them done. That's not happening.
And then
No.
they try to project that they are successful.
Yeah, high achievers are specialists.
Dang, say it again, man.
They specialize in something.
Not drinking enough water, multitasking, eating too much sugar
Mm-hmm.
while you're drinking purified water over there.
Oh no, this is Tejan spring water. I don't drink purified water.
Fiji.
So the thing about sugar is sugar causes this biological reaction called the browning effect. Literally browning,
Oh, wow.
like turning brown. It ages you.
Oh.
Put a piece of fruit on the counter. What happened to it?
It rots. Oh, it goes brown.
It turns brown.
Oh.
It's the sugar that's in it. It causes the browning effect.
Oh, man.
That's just one thing.
Good.
Yeah, not including
That's
diabetes
natural,
and a list of
natural
other
sugars
things.
too, not a chemical.
It's real sugar. Yeah. But if you put a GMO piece of fruit on the counter, it'll last for a long
It's
time.
preserved.
It's preserved.
Preservatives that are inside it, chemicals and chemical induced.
Right.
Overlooking oral hygiene.
That's an interesting one.
Dude, I never used
Your
to
mouth
do.
could cause cancer and all kinds of other problems.
I didn't know that, and I didn't realize that the tongue pulling.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any of that until this year.
Think about it. You eat food, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't brush well, where does the food go? Nowhere. It stays in your mouth. And it does what? It rots.
And it turns into something.
You got rotten food in your mouth. if you're not
Oh,
taking
that's
care of your mouth.
gross.
Yeah.
Turns into poop.
Man.
Poopy breath.
And we eat all day.
My kids say that
We
all
eat
the time.
breakfast, lunch, dinner. We snack, dessert.
Here's another one. You're gonna love this one. What damages your brain: using artificial sweeteners. Don't even touch that one.
If I go there, we'll
Time's
be
ticking.
talking for 2 hours.
Skipping mental breaks.
Mm.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Workaholics out there.
Yeah.
Hard to take a little pause of like, okay, I need to reflect.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Constant.
Not the news.
My wife is this. My wife does this, and I notice my son's starting to do this. He's 4 years old. Nail biting
Nail biting?
is damaging your brain.
Really? Dang.
Interesting.
Janelle, I've been telling me to stop that for years.
Constant nail biting. I need to look into that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll Google that after this.
Now,
Ignoring.
I didn't know that nail biting was a sign of nervousness or something like that.
Could it be a sign? Maybe a symptom that
Of
something's
something.
going on in your brain because you're nervous. Maybe that's a symptom. Oh wow. Ignoring hearing health.
Hearing.
Oh wow, because I always have AirPods on, and I have it pretty loud, so maybe I'll have to turn that thing down.
Yeah.
It's probably damaging my brain. Wow, thank you, Jim Quick. Late
It's,
night.
it's definitely reconditioning your audible levels. As the older you get, the higher you're probably going to need the volume.
Yeah. I know Jim Quick does connect a lot of science behind our learning abilities, our brain health, and all the things. So he's a great resource. Here's another one: late night phone usage. I do use my phone a lot at late night.
The question is, what are you using it for? Like if you're browsing,
Yeah, true.
if you're having conversations, I
scrolling,
mean,
yeah.
what's the difference between having a conversation at night versus a conversation during the day? But if you're scrolling, when you probably should be winding down for bed, that could be a problem.
There's a spiritual aspect of it because words have created forces. So if you're listening to negative and toxic words, then I'm sure it's damaging your brain.
That can be any time of day, though.
That's the news.
Yeah, that can be 6 a.m.
And here's another one: avoiding mental challenges.
Yeah,
We talk about that.
yeah.
If you're always in a comfortable state, you're damaging your brain.
Do the hard things until the hard things become hard not to do.
Wow. You got to do hard things. Yeah. 10 habits that damage your brain. I think as we conclude here is slow success builds character. Fast success builds ego. Slow success builds character. Fast success builds ego. It goes back to that soul realm. environments, experiences, and education. And we want instant gratification because that's what a lot of what we're hearing from social media and all these different things is get it quick.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this is where the confusion can kind of creep in and confuse a lot of people because I don't want to wait till I'm 80
To do something.
to do something and retire. I want to make my money quicker so I can spend the time with the people I love sooner than later.
Yeah. You know, growing up, I had a lot of friends and family members who were getting it quick. Like they were getting it quick, you know.
Quickie.
No. Like
Wrong context.
Wrong context, man. I meant like money and cars, you know, like, and they were doing illegal things. And me, for some reason, like, I don't know, man, it's definitely a God thing that he tapped into me and told me to be patient, you know, put my head down and grind. Because I always said like, hey, I want a lot of money. Like I do want to be rich,
Yeah.
but I want the right to spend it. Like I don't want to be afraid about how I spend, and I don't want people, the law enforcement looking at me, questioning what I'm doing. How did I get it? Like I knew that I didn't want that weight on my back as an adult, right? So put my head down and I grinded, and that's why I'm where I'm at today. So one of the biggest pieces of advice I give to teenagers is be patient. Like seriously, like don't follow the crowd.
Yeah.
When I started in my field of study right now, my trade, air conditioning, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to work. Well, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna finish my trade program. I'm gonna get into the industry. And I said, within 5 years, I'll be really good. I'll be really good in 5 years. Well, in 5 years, I wasn't just good. I started my own company.
Right.
Yeah. So it wasn't to start my own company in 5 years. It was just to be really, really good at what I did so I could make a decent amount of money.
Right.
But just having that
Quality.
Yeah, just having that long-term perspective and being committed to the long term, I was blessed beyond what I even imagined. You know, so yeah, just being consistent, being patient, sticking to the process, it pays off.
It's kind of like that picture that I've seen. I'll put it on the screen here. Is where this guy, it's like a statue of a guy with a chisel and a hammer, and he's chiseling away the fat. Have you seen this picture?
Of himself.
Yeah, of himself.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that because it takes time. You got to chisel away.
And you got to do it to yourself. Like nobody else can do it for you.
Because all work works.
All work works.
All work works. It works on you, or it works on you or for you. But if it doesn't work for you, it's definitely working on you.
Can you think about a job that you had that didn't work for you?
No, every job taught me
neither.
something.
Like I can
even in a bakery. I worked in a bakery when I was very young. That taught me a ton of things.
Bro, I worked at not a warehouse. I did work at a warehouse, but I worked at a restaurant where I had to bake bread every day.
Dang, bro, we were the same.
Listen,
Bakers, bro.
Listen, the day before, I had to mend the dough. Like I had to mix it fresh, the salt, the yeast, the flour, the water. I had to mix it. Then I had to knead it. Then I had to set it out.
You know what we need to do? We need to start a business called Baker Brothers.
Yeah. Inside joke if you're in
Inside
Dallas, right?
joke.
Yeah. But bro, I was like 20 at the time, and I just thought it was a sandwich shop, right? But I was a straight baker. Like I was making the bread. Now when I reflect back, like we don't do that anymore. Like we don't do that anywhere. We go to the store, get our bread. We go to the restaurant.
The smell of the
Yeah,
bakery.
man.
Oh,
like those skills, you know. And I think that's why I like cooking now. That's why I like cooking.
Oh, there's the connection.
There's a connection. All work
Wow.
works. Everything that you've done and that you will do will be useful in the future.
Wow.
Even your struggles. Like even your struggles has its purpose.
Going back to the topic real quick. Are we experiencing life the right way, right? Do you think this is the cause of people going out, night clubbing? I used to do this, so like my hands up. Like I used to do this all the time. Go to night clubbing, get drunk, off your face, YOLO, you only live once. Do you think that whole realm in itself was born out of us being impatient? We just want to numb ourselves. We want to go and party hard, want to like literally like compromise every. And I'm not saying don't celebrate the wins, right? I'm not saying don't do that. But I just think like people overdo it and it ends up becoming an addiction that they can't go without going night clubbing or drinking and smoking and all the things that's unhealthy, really, right? Because what happens when you go to clubs? I used to go to clubs, drink a ton of alcohol, ton of sugar, ton of all the stuff that's bad for you, go to a store, right after about 4 a.m. and go have a kebab or a pizza. So now making it even worse.
Yeah.
There are still guys that are my age, a little bit older, that are still doing this right now.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It was happening before you. Like what we're experiencing, or what you experienced in your early 20s. Let's be honest.
Dude, I was 15. Australians are, bro, we're crazy.
I know. I'm trying to be nice, but I was doing it at 14, 15.
Oh, you were too?
Yeah.
Bro, we're literally brothers.
and here's the thing, though. We were just continuing the tradition. We were just continuing a tradition. It was a environmental, cultural tradition that my mom was doing it before me. My grandma was doing it before her. And who knows what my parents and grandparents were doing.
But
right?
see, we can try to confine this realm of addiction and bad tradition, but there's also tradition of overworking. There's tradition of having a sense of control freak. Yeah. So those who just want to control everything.
Yeah,
right? Traditions.
It's all cultural. We're operating off cultural aspects. Like what we do is it's natural to the family dynamics. A lot of what we're doing is just operating off programs. And until we rewrite the program, we're going to continue the same storyline. People say, man, this is a family curse. No, it ain't. It's just family tradition.
Yeah.
It's a family story, and you can rewrite the story.
Man. And
it's simple, but not easy.
And I'm hoping this is something that I will translate to my kids, because I'm sure they're going to be tempted to have that first sip of alcohol, which I'm not saying alcohol is it's okay. Like, it's not bad, but I know there's a tendency to go the extra mile of drinking more and becoming an alcoholic. There's that direction. There's that temptation.
So we turn good things bad.
We always do.
Like, God created it all, and it's all good. We turn good things bad.
So true. That's why we're dealing with the evil that we're dealing with.
We turn normal use into abuse, right? Anything that you use in an abnormal way is abnormal use, and that is abuse, right?
It's abnormal, not normal.
It's abnormal. Yeah. So if you're abusing anything, abuse is just abnormal use of a good substance or a good thing. If you were injured, would you want me to pour alcohol on your wound to disinfect it? Or would you want me to drink it?
Oh, dude.
Right?
That's true. Yeah, we use alcohol to kill bacteria, but
exactly, right? It's a disinfectant.
What if it's killing the actual bacteria that's supposed to be in there, though?
Because it's going somewhere that it shouldn't be going.
Oh, man.
Right? Another example.
That's why I'm sticking to Kava.
Let's go there. If you were having surgery and you needed a painkiller, right? Like codeine being a painkiller, would you want me to give you codeine to help the pain go away while we do the surgery? Or would you like to be inhaling it through your nose?
Dang.
Like, where do you want it? Like abuse and dysfunction is just a symptom or a byproduct of abnormal use, using good things in a bad way.
Do you think when people think they're living or experiencing life the right way, do you think that if their state of being isn't experienced the right way, they're abnormal, right? But they think it's normal.
If everybody around you is sick, how do you know you're sick? So I think to have a fresh perspective of what is healthy, you have to move.
There's no point of reference there.
You have to move.
You've got kind of like the blind leading the blind.
Exactly. You only get a good point of reference when you change your view. So that's why it's important to move. That's why it's important to navigate. And that's why it goes back to earlier, we said that one of our blessings was the fact that we moved, that we navigated. We got to see other environments, other areas.
Going, traveling. And
when you think about the Bible, what's the most common theme in the Bible? There's movement.
Wow. Well, miracles are connected to movement.
Like, everybody's moving. From Genesis all the way to the end, everybody's moving.
Wow.
Cain and Abel, moving, right? Moses, Adam, Joseph, everybody's moving.
I've heard it said that it's not just working harder or working smarter, it's working higher.
Exactly. You can't stay at this plane. You got to move to another plane. There's movement involved. You got to get a better perspective.